Hey everyone, it seems that we are live once again. Seems to be working fine. Hello everybody. That's okay here. Pretty cool. Hey everyone, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. And everything is okay. So hey, welcome. This is our live tech show. This is episode number 98. We're getting real close to that 100 show. We are, of course, November 28th, 2017 today. And really nice to have everyone on board. Hello there. And of course, this show is a show about technology, about Windows, about any type of technology. Tech news, answering your questions if you got any, and of course just having plain fun talking about technology every Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2000 hours Universal Time, and this is of course the live tech show. So yep, number 98, Windows 98, really close to this 100 show. And man, it feels interesting. It doesn't feel like it's been that long that I've been doing this show. And when I started with show number 1, I was far from thinking that I would basically go to show 100 eventually. These are little these live shows are a little experimental. I mean, I throw one out, look at the view, how many people are watching, and basically, we decide on the do we continue, do we not, do we modify, what could we change, what could we make better, and well, we're here at 98, so it's really cool. So, I was 6 years old on show number 1. I hope not. So anyways, nice to have everybody on board. We have a nice chat room, so if you have a Gmail account, you can actually join the chat room, say hello to everyone. We got some great people there, and helpful people, and just have a lot of fun. Hey everybody, David Walker, Sean Robinson, Tim Robinson, Bobby Burgess, Cycler39, yes, my CKUT shirt. I thought, what the hell, I saw it today when I woke up, I was like, man, I'm gonna wear that today. Cycler39, Albert Zappa, Grapple Pearls, nice to have you on board. Thanks for the lovely Thanksgiving e-cards. David Walker, Douglas Elliott, nice to have you here. Christine Bowman, nice to have you here. Niels Pedersen, pretty cool to see all of you here. It's really a lot of fun. If I haven't said hello to you, please say hi so I can actually say hello to all of you. Double Bounce Beat, hey there, nice to have you here. And really cool to have all of you on board. And of course, one of the things that helps me continue are donations. Of course, you can send donations, and you can of course send donations via PayPal. That's probably the best way. And you can also become a patron at Patreon. I have 10 patrons giving me a little something every month. Patreon.com/radio and computers. But PayPal is a great way, and PayPal is cool also because you don't need a credit card if you don't have one. So thanks for everybody that have donated, and just as always want to kind of reach out to those that watch and like my shows all the time, and that have never donated. Why not think about it a little bit? Anything helps. Doesn't have to be a big donation. It's really anything will help out for sure. So thanks everybody that have donated, by the way. Okay, we'll start the news stuff, and I'm just gonna put this a little back here because I kind of don't have any space for my little keyboard. So and I've got beer today. This is not apple juice. This is beer. It's actually leftover beer from the weekend's family party. So Gabrielle, which likes the Japanese Sapporo beer, left the beer, and so hey, cheers everyone. So always nice to have everybody here, for sure. So, yes, the Grateful Pearl, the cards were really, really nice. Thanks. It's a lot of fun every time I see those coming in the email. So, Black Friday and Cyber Monday has come and gone. The first things that we are learning, hey Josh Kinder, nice to have you here. First things we are learning is that it's the best Black Friday, the best Cyber Monday, and I think it's like ever, with like a 38% year-over-year increase of donations. Sorry, Tim Robinson, thanks for the donation. It's a year-over-year 38% increase in the in sales, which is pretty amazing, really amazing, and basically it's amazing. I think that's going to show that maybe this year is going to be one of the greatest holiday sales season. People just want a lot of technology, and it's really, really crazy. Okay, and of course the number one item that was on the list of everyone was the Nintendo Switch. Apparently everybody wanted to have Nintendo Switch. Just pretty amazing. And I think it's showing off how everybody wants to have that little console. So pretty cool. I don't do any shopping usually on Black Friday or Cyber Monday. They were also saying that Cyber Monday is now getting bigger than Black Friday online. In overall sales, Black Friday is the biggest. But if you look at, because you know some people on Black Friday of course buy online also. If you think about buying online, of course Cyber Monday now is really, really something that a lot of online users are actually going through, which is amazing. So you know, it's pretty interesting to see the stats. I think kind of shows that the economy must be going well, since there's so many people buying stuff. And we learned today also that we learned today that Amazon has sold tons and tons of Amazon's Alexa and Echo devices, millions apparently, which makes it the most popular assistant ever. So that's also interesting. As yes, Gripple Pearls, it will be 64 gigabytes is more than enough. No problem there. You'll have more than enough to do what you need to do for a clean install. And the videos are coming really, really soon. Just looking at how I'm going to do it with one of my PCs that I'll be using to do it. So hope that you can install Windows 10. It's quite easy, and the process of install is pretty simple. So I think you're gonna have it. Hey Alex Tuttle, nice to have you on board. And no problem there. No problem there. So, what else is there in the news? FCC net neutrality is officially going to be voted out on December 14th. There's a lot of things happening with that. There's a judge in the state of New York that says that he's trying to actually push for some kind of probe into the fact that the FCC did not really look at any of the net neutrality comments from people. He also wants to push on the fact that it really seems like internet service providers have flooded the FCC's comment section with spam on let's get rid of net neutrality comments. There's a lot of things like that make it very, very bizarre. One thing that is interesting, it's because the FCC, in order to do that, will need to be approved by Congress. And it seems that one of the things that is interesting with that is that Congress is pretty much split into yes or no on the net neutrality. And so because Congress will need to have that approved, it's still not yet approved that even if they do say, well, bye-bye net neutrality, it'll still have to go through Congress in order to be, approved or not. So one of the things I was saying, and a lot of I was looking at Twit Network, and I was Leo Laporte and everybody was kind of saying, why don't everybody that wants to keep net neutrality call their congressman or email or send a letter to let them know that you're not in favor of breaking the net neutrality rules. That is one thing that could maybe change the whole deal, because the FCC cannot act alone. We also start learning that there are some ISPs that have some really bad ideas now already because of net neutrality being broken. Hey there, hello, Andre Arias, nice to have you here. So what's going to happen is that, first of all, there's Comcast. Comcast seems to be really the troublemaker here. Comcast has two ideas that they want to implement wants to implement. One is, of course, to block BitTorrents. So they want to make sure that after net neutrality is gone, that BitTorrent is blocked. I get a lot of comments. People see that I have microtorrent, or some call it uTorrent, on my desktop and say, "Oh my God, you have that showing in your video," and it's like, well, there's nothing illegal about uTorrent or microtorrent. There's nothing illegal about doing BitTorrenting. What's illegal is the content that you are actually going on BitTorrents. And of course, the majority of stuff on BitTorrents is, yes, illegal stuff. Illegal movies, illegal music, and so on. But BitTorrents also have a value for regular, really regular legal stuff. For example, a lot of distros of Linux are distributed through the BitTorrent network to just make sure that the load on their own network isn't as high, and that everybody shares the bits of the latest, Linux distros. So, of course, Comcast wants to block BitTorrent. We learned today also that Comcast is thinking of they're not gonna, do this, internet connectivity thing package for if you want YouTube and Netflix and so on, but they have said they want to add a new premium speed non-throttled internet price. So that is basically, you got to pay more to get the bits of the video player stuff, the YouTube stuff and the Netflix stuff. So they were saying, well, yeah, they want to introduce a price for premium non-throttled internet for people that watch videos, which is pretty much the same as saying, well, you got to pay more if you want to have YouTube, and in Netflix and so on. So you know what? It's really sad, because that means that internet service providers are getting there. And it's really crazy. And let's hope that things turn around, because it's a little sad. But interesting comment, and you know what? Everybody was thinking about that this weekend on This Week in Tech, the Leo Laporte's tech show on Sundays. And they're saying, well, until 2014, 2015. There weren't any rules on the internet, and basically nothing bad came out of that. Nothing wrong came out of that. It seems like it was something that was, you know, just naturally going in the right direction. And basically, that is kind of interesting to see. So, well, you know, we're wondering, well, if the rules go off, if, you know, will competition maybe prevent any of the bad stuff from happening? There was a very nice article on The Verge, I believe it's The Verge that had, or Ars Technica, I don't remember, one of the two websites, on how, I'm trying to remember the article. So it was the Ars Technica, I think. So they had an interesting article on how you know, the net neutrality stuff might not really change that much, but that article also mentioned if things do change, what is said is it will change for the whole world, even if it's just a U.S. You know, a U.S. problem, net neutrality, but it isn't really, because there are many countries. Apparently, one country that is very, very bad in how the net neutrality rules are broken is Portugal. Apparently, in Portugal, it's really, really crazy the way it's done. So I don't know. Let's cross our fingers that not too much damage will be done. And I think, you know, there's still time. There will be some people, probably some groups going, you know, to court. There's going to be a lot of things happening before all of that is implemented. Let's just, you know, cross our fingers and hope that. And really, really crazy. Yeah, like Stuttle, I did see something go through about that, but when there's no Windows 11, there will never be a Windows 11, and Microsoft is still holding to the fact that Windows 10 is the last version of Windows that will be upgraded from time to time. Yes, absolutely. Most of the comments, apparently if you take out the comments that were kind of spam comments, basically, it's like 92% of the people that actually voted for real were in favor of keeping net neutrality rules in the United States. This one is interesting, and you know, I believe it, because now I don't play it really much anymore, and but when I used to play a lot Pokemon Go, I did see that happening. I did see a lot of Pokemon Go players that were in their cars. And now we learned that a study was done on the first 148 days of Pokemon Go gaming. And we now learned that through the United States, the total cost of car crashes, $2 billion in the first 148 days. $2 billion of idiots crashing into something because they're playing Pokemon Go in their cars, which is really, you know, I'm sorry, but somebody that plays Pokemon Go in his car and that gets caught should lose his driver's license for life. There were even some people that apparently died from some of these accidents. So I don't know, it's really, really crazy. And you know what happened is, of course, we know that Pokemon Go at the start did not have any rules for when you were in the cars. When the updates came through, they started implementing, you know, when you go faster than a certain speed, you can't see, you won't see any Pokemons anymore. You can't, you know, go to gyms or do anything to try to stop people from playing and driving. But man, that just, you see that and it's like, man, this is stupid. Imagine. You know, here in Quebec, we're about to raise the fines of people that actually use their phones, their cell phones, their smartphones, in their cars. Because here we have strict rules on that. And they're going to double the fines. And I think it's not enough. You know what? I personally think if you were caught with your smartphone texting while you're driving, I think you should lose your driver's license for a year. Okay, there's a guy here, a young, I think it was an 18 or 19-year-old guy that died a couple of years back, about a year and a half ago. He was hit by a high-speed car, and the guy didn't see him because he was texting while driving. And so he hit the young man, and the young man died in a hospital, like, you know, a couple hours later. And they actually looked into it. They did a little probe on that. And what came out of the report is that this shows how really needs something to be done, because it's a serious issue, and it's extremely important that rules be set extremely tightly, and extremely, you know, really have some really hard rules and very high fines for anybody that does it, because it is a plague. And that probe came up with the study actually mentioned that smartphones were actually creating more crashes and more problems than alcohol, you know, drunk people that are driving. And they were saying it's totally nuts, you know. So I don't know, you know, $2 billion, man, this is something when you think about it. And it just shows how so many idiots out there driving while doing all of that is just stupid. I'm sorry, but when you're driving, can you just stop touching your cell phone or smartphone? Well, you know, Alex, the reason why people make fake videos like that is because it brings a lot of views. You know, if I would, you know, want to spruce up my views, I could start making fake videos like that. And I'm sure these videos get tens of thousands of views suddenly. And it's simply, you know, making fake videos. It's like fake news, but it's fake videos. Gets views and, you know, gets them some AdSense money. That's all I got to say. But man, this is really crazy when you that $2 billion mark and everything. And you know, when I played a lot Pokemon Go, I don't know, I've seen so many people that would drive by with their smartphones playing Pokemon Go. I remember seeing tons of those. I was like, really? You are playing Pokemon Go in your car? It's just, you know, stupid. And unfortunately, there's too many people that do that. You know, the other day I went to the grocery store, and at the traffic light there's this woman, and she has, you know, her cell phone texting. And I looked at her and I said, wow, congratulations, texting while you're in your car. Well, it's not supposed to. Oh, but I'm stopped at the, you know, at the traffic light. I said, I don't care. Stop playing with your stupid smartphone in a car. It is illegal. That's it. And she smiles, and it's like, it ain't funny. You're just a stupid, dumb asshole. You know? And it's like, man, I was mad. It's like, who cares? I don't care at a traffic light or not. You know? Just leave your phone alone, man. Microsoft Edge. Interesting little story about Microsoft Edge. Hey, Shervin Abdullah, nice to have you on board from Denmark. So, for any of you that would be tempted, apparently, to go to porn sites eventually, it seems that in one of the next few builds of Windows, we'll get a Microsoft Edge browser that will actually, when it detects that we're going to a porn site, open a private browsing area automatically. It will simply know that we're going to a website we shouldn't, and we basically will not, the browser will bring you to a private session while you're on that site, so that nobody can see what you were doing before. So I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people that do this activity. And God knows there's a lot of people that do these activities. But anyways, it's kind of interesting that, people at Microsoft are deeply taking care of, all people that watch porn online. It's nice to see that somebody at Microsoft is actually, thinking of what should we do with users that watch porn and that want to keep that private. I just can't imagine the team sitting down saying, oh, you know what we could add in Microsoft Edge? What? Oh, when we go to porn sites, it automatically goes to a private browsing session. It's kind of, yeah, why not? But why not? Why not? I mean, except for some people that don't care, I think most people that go to porn sites probably would rather have it on a private, session, to make sure that once you're out of there, nobody else can see that, well, this afternoon I was watching porn before everybody arrived for the party or something. Or, I can imagine tons of, as a tech guy, one of the things that's very, very, one of the things I've seen so often is people that got infected. And it's obvious because a computer that's infected with viruses, certain types of viruses, often you can kind of, it's like a doctor. You can, go to, you just look at the types of viruses and you can kind of, okay, somebody's watching porn on this computer, and, or even sometimes you look at something and you just stumbled upon, oh, okay, they're watching porn. But the funniest thing with that is, it happens so many times, that I have, one of the stories I'll always have, I know you guys like my tech stories. I go to this client, and the computer has pop-ups. So it's a married couple, man and women, and when the computer is just there, there are some naked women pop-ups from time to time. And so what happens is, the woman, well, the wife tells me, oh, well, I don't know why these are happening, because, we don't go and watch these kinds of things. Now, you're the tech guy, and your job is not to start saying that maybe your husband's watching porn on the computer. It's to try to fix whatever the problem is and try to just be a gentleman and say, oh, well, sometimes these things can happen. So I, clean up the computer, everything's fine. It calls me up about 3 weeks later and says, oh, the naked women pop-ups are back. So she asked me, do I have to pay again? And I say, yeah, because on viruses, there's no guarantee on viruses. When I leave, I know there's no viruses. If it was really, really tough, I reformat, which is, a sure thing. But now the pop-ups are back, and she says, well, that's not fair. You came here to fix that, and now we have it again. You didn't do your job. And I said, yes, I did my job. But somebody is doing something that they shouldn't do. And she says, well, we don't watch things like that. And you better come here. And she kind of gave me an order. You better come back here for free to fix this. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to go there for free to fix it because it's your problem. You're the one doing something that makes it come back. And you know what? I'm not going to fix your computer anymore. And by the way, why don't you lighten up? Your husband is watching porn all the time, and that's why it's happening. So just, open your eyes. Your husband is watching porn. Good day. Poof. And I hang up the phone. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I was a little rough. But at the same time, it's like, you're giving me an order. It's like, The hell with it. The hell with it. You know, it's your problem. It's not mine. So it's like, you know, I can imagine she's like standing there at home and saying, okay, my husband's watching porn and the tech guy told me that. But you know, it's like, go to hell. You know, I don't get any orders for anyone. You know, there's a difference between, oh yeah, I forgot to do this. Yes, I will gladly go back and, you know, fix it because I did forget about it. It's my mistake. You know, we do make mistakes. But, you know, viruses and stuff like that, no tech guy is going to guarantee, you know, viruses. Very simple. Because it's not what the tech guy did for the viruses, it's what the people do with their PCs. So if you know, and it happens so often that, you know, some clients call me and say, oh, I've got a virus again, you know, and you came here only a month ago. And it's like, well, what are you doing with your PC? It's you're responsible for having viruses, not me. You know, and sometimes they're like, oh, well, you know, maybe you should have installed a better antivirus, or no. You're the problem. I don't care whatever antivirus you would have gotten you would have gotten a virus anyway. It's what you're doing. The problem is what you're doing. So, you know, it's kind of funny because, you know, a lot of people don't understand that. And it's one of those things that you're like, yeah, people don't understand the fact that the reason you've got viruses is because you're doing things you shouldn't do. But anyways, you know, but it's just funny, you know. So, you know, watching porn, a lot of, I would imagine that the majority of guys, I'm not saying everybody because there are some people that don't, absolutely don't. But I would say the majority of guys have at one point or another watched porn on their PCs. I mean, I don't know how many times, you know. I always like the clients that were very direct. I have a few clients like that you know, they would call me up and say, oh, Joel, you know, you got to come and fix my PC. I was watching porn the other night and I infected my computer by installing a fake flash thing. It's like, yeah, okay, you're telling me, you know, I was watching porn and I got bitten by a virus. But I don't know. It's just funny. So, soon, to every porn watcher out there, Microsoft Edge will have private browsing automatically turned on when you go to porn sites. Firefox, this one is a nice one, by the way. This one's a nice one. Hey, Joseph Burr, nice to have you here. One of the things that is interesting about Firefox, first of all, one of the interesting things about Firefox is the latest version, Firefox Quantum. I've seen a lot of reports of people out there, you know, using it, and even Paul Thurrott said he's moved from Chrome back to Firefox because of the new Firefox Quantum. He finds it fast, he finds it really, really nice, and that he was a big Firefox user in the past, and he's got back to Firefox, and he's you know, telling everyone you should maybe go back to Firefox. At the same time, I've got some people saying, you know, well, you know, it has a lot of problems. Personally, I haven't had any problems with Firefox. I use it mostly to go on YouTube from one web browser, but it seems to work fine. I haven't had any issues. But there's a new feature coming to the Firefox browser, which I think is nice. It will actually tell you when you go to a website if it's been hacked in the past, if there was a data breach. So for example, when that will be enabled, if you go to Equifax.com, it's going to tell you, oh, this site suffered a data breach at that time. If you go on Yahoo, it's going to tell you, this site suffered 2 data breaches at that period of time. And it's in collaboration with the Have I Been Pawned website, where they will actually be giving all the information so that Firefox can identify any website that has been hacked in the past and that suffered some data breach in the past. I think that's cool. I think that's a really, really good idea, personally. You know, because there's a lot of websites that we might go to and that we might not have seen it in the news. I mean, we hear about the big websites, but we don't always hear about the smaller websites that might have been breached that we'd go to. And I think it's a good thing. You know, it's going to just tell us, oh, well, this website was breached at some point in the past. Maybe let's be careful what we do here, or let's see if I can find some alternate website that does the same thing that is safer. I think this is a good idea. Personally, all browsers should do that, for sure. Foxconn, that company is, you know what's crazy? What's Foxconn? I know, guys, it's dark when I put white stuff here. Foxconn is that company that makes everything. I mean, Foxconn, we associate Foxconn with, you know, iPhones a lot and Apple. But in reality, Foxconn, I think, is the biggest employer in China. They have like 2 or 3 million employees. And they make almost everything we buy. I mean, a lot of the electronics come from that company. But one of the things that comes regularly every time we talk about Qualcomm is, of course, the fact that the working conditions are not fantastic. They employ, or used to, or we're not really sure, could employ some almost, you know, like children. They got caught a couple of weeks ago about, you know, making students work more than 40 hours a week, which is illegal in China. And it's very, very sad, because I mean, there are two worlds. There's obviously two worlds here. There's the Foxconn employees that are not necessarily treated right, and there's us that want to buy that latest gizmo that there's a big chance that all or part of it comes from some, you know, Foxconn, you know, a company somewhere. So it's something that's very difficult. You know, I was looking at one, there was a group of ecologists and of like, you know, a Amnesty International like group that was like saying we should stop buying iPhones, and it brings a lot of problems here, because okay, we should stop buying iPhones, but they make tons of other things. We should stop buying pretty much everything we do first. And if we go even further into the details, there was an economist here in Canada that I remember reading in a newspaper saying, well, you know what, it's really nice to think that we can change the world, and that by not buying this or that device, you know, these companies are going to stop, you know, exploiting these people in China. But at the same time, that economist was really, really nice in saying that basically it was very interesting, because he was saying, well, we don't fix the problem by not buying their stuff. And what's happening is that not only that, but by not buying the stuff, these people will not get better conditions. They'll just lose their jobs, which will be, in many cases, a worse condition than being in a company like Foxconn. So it's a very, very, you know, difficult issue here. I think it's something that's, you know, we gotta make pressure. We gotta give pressure. I think we gotta, you know, when we hear anything like that, we gotta go to that company. Like, we gotta go to Apple, or we gotta go to Samsung or whatever company, and tell them, well, we don't like the way that, you know, employees are treated, so that in turn these companies will go to Foxconn and say, look, we don't like your practices, you got to change that. I think that's the best way to handle this. I don't think boycotting iPhones or whatever device made by that company is really, you know, much of a you know, difference or anything. So, anyways, you know, Foxconn is Foxconn. That's all I gotta say. Oh man, that Hoover thing. Oh, by the way, I see people talking about Windows 1 and 3.1 and so on. I saw, when was it? It's last week, I think. There was a article that passed through really fast that was saying that Windows was 32 years old. And that in 1985, I believe it was like an, end of October or early November 1985, that Windows 1 was released. So Windows 1.0 was released in 32 years ago, this month, something like that. So hey, we're 32 years into Windows with Windows 10, incredible. What a huge difference from Windows 1 to Windows 10, by the way. You know, I mean, Windows 1 was that ugly little thing in DOS. Windows 2 also, a couple of years after. Windows 2, I think, was on in 87. What really changed everything was Windows 3. I mean, Windows 3 was, I think, the first mainstream Windows version that was really, really working. And I was reading an article about it, and I still remember Windows 3 was crashing all the time. Do you guys remember that? Windows 3? It was kind of cool, but it was always crashing. You always had to restart it with that win command in the DOS. But it was always crashing. I mean, that thing was crazy. And then Windows 95. Hey, Vaults, nice to have you here. So then Windows 95, of course, came out. That was the really popular one where, you know, let's think about it today. Let's think about it today. I mean, people stood in line at midnight to get a copy of Windows 95. Times really have changed. I can't see anybody waiting in line now to, well, of course we are getting them on our PCs now by download, but things change a lot. I mean, you know, Windows 95 people waiting in line for a Windows version was kind of interesting. But then again, we don't really see any people waiting in line. You know, it's like the iPhone. I remember the first few iPhones where people were waiting in line like crazy to get an iPhone. We don't really see many people waiting in line anymore for an iPhone. You know, things change. Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows Millennium. My first dabble at Windows was on Windows 3.11, Windows for Workgroups. That's when I started my first playing around with Windows. Before that, I was a DOS. And, you know, I was a Commodore guy, so I didn't have my first PC. I had in 1991 or something like that. I think that's when I had my first PC. And I was running DOS. And then I upgraded that PC at some point. Actually, at that time, I didn't have any money, so the PCs, the computers were given to me by people around me. So I always had old PCs back then. And then when I got my first real big job, that's when I bought my first PC, which was a Pentium 166, and that one was running. I was running what? I was running Windows 98 on that, I believe. Windows 98 was the first version of Windows on my first PC that I bought myself. And then Windows Millennium, which was you know what, Windows Millennium it was sad it would crash all the time, because one of the things that was cool about Windows Millennium, it introduced tons of new technologies. Windows Millennium was the first one to have natively accept USB thumb drives, which were really, really brand new back then. You didn't need a driver. You know, when Windows 98, if you wanted to use a thumb drive, you needed to install a driver. But man, Windows Millennium was crashing all the time for me. It was very, very weird. Then I had Windows XP. Windows XP was very, very much of a milestone. I mean, Windows XP, for the consumer grade Windows XP was the first ever Windows that was so stable. But of course, that's because it shared the core of NT, which was with Windows 2000. Enterprise had Windows 2000, consumer had Windows XP. That was the first real stable Windows. I remember that thing. I wouldn't crash ever. But until, you know, I had a Commodore computer late. You know, I was a Commodore VIC-20 user, then a Commodore 128 user that had this Commodore 64 side to it. I was an Amiga 500 user. I didn't want to go to PC back then. I would, especially with the Amiga 500. You know, you'd look at your Amiga 500 and you look at the PC of your friend with DOS and you're like, well, my Amiga 500 is so much better. It has a graphic user interface and everything. But somebody won, and basically we all had to go to PC at some point because of a lot of bad decision. It's really sad because the decision, you know, there are a lot of bad decisions because the Amiga was pretty amazing, not that expensive, less expensive than a PC. And maybe if they'd done things right, we might have had a different world on our PC side. That's for sure. Yes, Bobby, I changed the power supply's capacitors because I was pretty much sure, because there was a lot of rust. When I got that Amiga, that Atari 1040 ST, Bobby, I was in the rain. I found it in the rain. And I had to really dry it up. And the power supply side of it was the place where a lot of things were happening, because there's a lot of metal there and it was really rusted. So what I did when it stopped working, I replaced the capacitors. I cleaned it up more and replaced the capacitors of the power supply on the 1040 ST, which is very easy to do on these old machines because there's so much space. It's easy to change something. And when I plugged it in, it works brand new. So I played some games the other day with the Atari 1040 ST. It was really, really cool. So it's back online and working. So back to the news. We have Hoover that did something not nice. Hoover paid hackers $100,000 to just shut up and not say and not tell to anyone that they had a data breach of 57 million users. Well, 50 million users and 7 million drivers. The good side to it, apparently no credit card or details like that stolen. The problem with the you know, paying the bad guys is exactly what you shouldn't do. You know, I think whatever happens, never pay the bad guys, because all it does is give them more fuel to, oh, we got a quick you know, $100,000 here. Let's do some more bad stuff. It's stupid. And of course, also has the other problem here is that Uber hided all of that from its users and everyone, which is illegal. When you have a data breach, you are entitled by law to basically tell everyone there's a data breach. The reason why I was told actually is because there's the new CEO at Hoover that looks like a good guy. You know, he looks like the CEO that wants to really fix things. So basically, what's happening with that is the new CEO looked at it and said, okay, what we're going to do with that? And of course, one of the things that came to his mind is, well, we gotta tell everybody that there was a breach. We can't hide that from everyone. And so, they just said it. So, yeah, but they didn't. Vaults, in their case, they didn't. They could have just flat out said, okay, we got a data breach, 57 million users. It's sent anyway. It was just told later. So from what I see here, they did not have to pay. They just paid to have the hackers not tell anyone. And then everybody knows now anyways. They should have just said, okay, we're sorry, you got a data breach. So apparently they fired that security guy that was there. Patrick Manny, hello there. I saw Aden Guardado. I didn't say hi, but hello there. Nice to have everybody on board, by the way. So I don't know, you just gotta say it. I mean, you got a data breach. Anyways, by law they are required. And I think you're a better company. Even, you look like an idiot. I mean, some companies like Equifax look like complete idiots after the data breach. But at least say it. Say it. There's a data breach. You got to say it. And we want to know. We need to know. So, oh, no, I don't really care that they are sorry or not either. Vaults. On that side, I'm not. I don't. It's like Equifax saying, "Oh, we are deeply sorry." Shut up. You didn't do what it was. You didn't do what was supposed to be done. You had warnings of that could happen, and you didn't do anything. And that security girl was a complete zero. I think when that happens, you cannot, I totally agree. There's no, shut up with "I'm sorry" and say what you're going to do so it doesn't happen again. But say it. Tell us that there was a data breach. I think they owed us this too. I think a company will be for me, even though any company that has a data breach, I always kind of feel, yeah, did you do everything that was required? And once again, that's the reason why, the reason why is I guess I will not like your company because you had a data breach, but you still have to tell me that you're going to have a data breach. And sorry, here I am. My feet hit the little leg of the camera here. But no, what I want to know is just I want to know if you were careless. I will accept, and I am capable of making a difference of, okay, there's a flaw somewhere that was unknown only to bad guys. It's exploited. They got a data breach because of that, and then all the world knows suddenly that there's a data breach. There's something that can be done through this or that system. And there's a difference for me that companies will not do anything about. They've been warned a million times, well, you should fix this because you're going to have or suffer data breach. And it's just crazy. And in this case, at least, there's a thing that in this case, one thing for sure is that you can't. Even though the credit cards and stuff like that were not stolen, for me, Hoover is a bad company now. You paid bad guys. You didn't tell anyone. The hell with it. If I would be a Hoover user, here in Canada we don't have this, but if I would be a Hoover user in the United States, I'd change to Lyft. I'd show Hoover the hell with you. I'm going to the other one because I don't trust you. Comcast, that famous company you like to hate. So as I was saying in the net neutrality stuff, Comcast has all sorts of ideas that are bad. One of them is, of course, BitTorrent. They want to block the BitTorrents. But I think the worst is that they want to now, because of net neutrality rules being gone, have a pricing that will be a new price for those that want to not be throttled back on video websites like YouTube and Netflix. That is sad. Bye-bye BIOS. It's pretty much official that in 2020 and going forward, no more BIOS, you know, no more BIOS emulation or anything in any PCs. This is moving forward now, because right now what's happening is that they you know, our new computers don't have, technically have what's a BIOS. What they have is they kind of have to do an emulation of it for this to keep compatibility, especially with us using, you know, desktop 32 software. So Intel decided to it's the end. Let's move on and, you know, go to the UEFI 2.0 and forget about this. So that means also that after the after 2020, all desktop 32 apps will stop working because they require a computer to work in the same manner as it is today with BIOSes and everything. So I think we're moving along, and I think you gotta, there's that legacy, you know, today's BIOS legacy in most of our machines. You know, most of them don't have the BIOS like we had before, but they have what's called a BIOS legacy, which is a way of kind of showing that there still is something like that to have your computer working. And so basically you will have to there will be a you know, a new era of PC. So basically, you know, it's just we're moving ahead. I have no problems with that, you know. I have no problems with moving ahead with, you know, removing this, because I mean there's older technologies that I think at some point you got to break off from. No, Alex, what's going to happen is that all your PCs that are made that have that capability will have it and will stay with it, but the new PCs that will come out at a certain point in 2020 will simply, you know, not have that capability anymore. So you won't be able to run older stuff. You'll have to stay within the confines of the new technologies and Windows and apps. So I don't know. I think there will be a, you know, it's like everything. There will be a period of adaptability where people won't understand why their favorite this or that doesn't work. Is it for our, you know, it's not clear that it's for our well-being of the future, personally. There's really nothing there. I think it's just, I don't want to, you know, I think it's, we'll see. We'll see in 2020 anyways what's going to happen. Hey, we got a number today. We got a number today. What I think they're going to do, Vaults, is, you know what? Because Vault says, I'm sure 132 apps will work anyway. What might happen is maybe in Windows they'll add some kind of virtualization of the Win32 stuff. So even if the PC itself doesn't support it, that virtualization within Windows will be able to do it. So, you know. So the numbers today. Fall Creators Update is on 20.4% of PCs. That's 1/5 of all Windows 10 computers now are on Windows 10 Fall Creators Update. So basically, yeah, I know, vaults, but you know, they'll have it, they'll tweak it so it works. Even if I would guess they'll tweak it so it works even if the BIOS is gone. That's what I want to say. So 1/5 of all Windows 10 computers are Fall Creators Update right now. That's 20%. So that's about 100 million at the numbers that we have, the last numbers. 100 million PCs are now on the Fall Creators Update. Which explains, you know, because I still get weekly people saying, well, you know, there's tons of problems with Fall Creators Update. You should read the blogs. Well, once again, you know, just look at this. Just think about it. 100 million PCs, a little more. Even if 1% of these PCs would have problems, that's 1 million PC. 1 million PCs are having problems. That's, you know, even 0.5%, it's 500,000. These people will voice their frustration. So, you know, in the statistics, because one of the things, and you know, I was reading an article, a premium article from Paul Tarot on his website, where he was talking about, because, you know, of course, like me, he gets a lot of people saying, well, there's a lot of problems with Fall Creators Update and so on. And, you know, we're not saying that there's zero. I mean, there's you know, there are some issues with some people. That is something that really exists. We can't, you know, it would be dumb to say no, there's no problems in Windows 10 Fall Creators Update at all. It would be a false to think that. But you know, as he was saying, and that's pretty much what I observe, as yes, there are some issues, but the number of problems with the rollout is very small compared to the amount of people that don't have any issues at all. And but like, you know, like everything, and it's easy to you know, it's easy to for a lot of people to say, well, you know, oh, there's tons of problems, look at all the posts. Well, no, it's just that, you know, you don't get people that have a Windows 10 upgrade that goes well say, hey, woohoo, works perfectly, thank you. You will have, okay, my PC's messed up because of Fall Creators Update. They will post because they're frustrated, which is totally normal. So, you know, really crazy. But, you know, 20.4% today. That's the number we got. It's kind of interesting. Hey, anyone using the PowerPoint viewer, Word viewer, Excel viewer software? I see this a lot, by the way. A lot of people are using the viewers from Microsoft to open up, you know, all sorts of older or Office documents that people send them. So, you know, I over the years as a tech guy, I installed one of the most popular was PowerPoint Viewer so many times, so that people could just view the slideshows that their friends were sending with PowerPoint. Well, they are being phased out. The Word, Excel, and PowerPoint viewers will be phased out and eliminated on April of 2018. We knew that was coming because we had heard about a year ago that Word viewer was to be removed at the end of 2018. 2017, sorry. So at the end of this year, which is, it's not yet. So I think they've kind of said, well, let's end all of it together, so all of the viewers will be ended in April 2018. Now, if you use a viewer, it's not going to stop working, but you will not have the updates, the security updates that go with it to keep you safe. So it's going to be kind of a little, you know, maybe a security problem at some point. And of course, if you reinstall or do anything and you don't have that thing, if you don't have it on a CD, or you have it backed up somewhere, the install of that, you won't be able to download the viewers anymore from Microsoft. See, it's ending by April of 2018. No, I did not cover news of that, Vaults. That's making like a Windows like a browser. It's kind of weird. Questions. We've got questions from Tommy, Viper Boy. Tommy has sent a few questions because he's thinking about a few things on his older laptop, and he's got a few questions with that. So questions that he's got is, first of all, can I still use a Windows 7 key to upgrade to Windows 10? Look, the last time that I've seen somebody mention that it works was 3 weeks ago. So technically it still works. Okay? Technically it still works. Then and everybody's saying hello, by the way, and everybody misses you in the chat room. So when you can come over the chat and say hi to everyone, they'll be happy to see you. Rhonda Bland, nice to have you here. It's simply that the viewers are becoming obsolete because Microsoft just doesn't want to upgrade them anymore. So they're just, they just want to remove that for sure. So hey, Silver Dragon, nice to have you on board. So Silver Dragon installed it with the Windows 8 key. Windows 8 key. So it still works from what we know. So there's no problems there. How would you be doing that? Well, you can do it wherever you want, however you want. Because one of the things you were asking is the flash drive that you created on your desktop, can it be used on your laptop to do that? Yes, that thumb drive with Windows 10 is not, it doesn't matter on whatever device you created that Windows 10 thumb drive. It is not dependent on that computer. It's just a Windows 10. It works on every PC that you'll want to upgrade. So you can use that same thumb drive on your PC, on a friend's PC, or whatever. It doesn't matter, as long as there's a way to upgrade, and there's, in this case, that someone, that person or your friend will have a Windows key. So the best way to do it, you have several ways. Okay, you can go to the Windows website. If you Google Windows 10 download, you'll be sent to the Windows 10 website, where you can click the install button at the top and say upgrade. So when you're on the Windows 10 website, it says upgrade at the top. If you click that, it will start the process of upgrading that Windows 10 machine to Windows 7 machine to Windows 10. So there's no problem there. Keep in mind that you need a separate key. So if you used one, or if you upgraded one PC and used the key, your desktop for example, the key that will be on the laptop needs to be different. You need to have a different key, because if you use two times the same key, technically it's not supposed to work, but I've seen reports of people using the same key on 3 or 4 machines, and they say they upgraded all the machines. So we're not really sure on that one. I'm not sure, but you just use the key on the Windows 7 laptop. You can use your flash drive and do a total clean install of that machine if you don't mind losing everything on it. If you back them up before, you can use your thumb drive that you created on the desktop and just clean install. And when it's asking for a key, you enter your Windows 7 key in it. And one of the questions that you said that you weren't able to find the license key on the Windows 7 laptop, and you say there's a sticker under it. So a product key looks like 5 character groups. There are five character groups. So you'll see something like W8H1K dash V1TL4 dash, and you'll have 5 groups of 5 letters, a mix of letters and numbers. If you don't see that, if there's nothing on your laptop that shows that, the question you have is, how could I find the product key? Well, you can use a program called Magical Jelly Bean. Okay, it's really Magical Jelly Bean Key Finder. If you Google that, you'll go to a website called Magical Jelly Bean. You know jelly beans, like the little candy? So magicaljellybean.com/keyfinder, or if you Google Magical Jelly Bean Key Finder, you'll get to the website. They have a free piece of software that will recover the Windows 7 key. It's going to give you the information of what key your Windows 7 operating system is using and is activated with. And you'll be, take note of it and keep it in a safe place. And once you've upgraded your machine, by the way, if you upgrade to Windows 10 and it activates, then after that, when you reinstall Windows 10, you don't need that key anymore. You can skip that option, and it's gonna know that it was activated digitally on that PC. You have also, nobody's PC is like 8 years old, so it's not one of those new ones where the keys in the BIOS, which is the way it is today. And that could be done, by the way, also with Magical Jelly Bean. You can have it recovered from that, but you'll have to pay for the version. There's a paid version for that. But for Tommy's case right now, it's an old 8-year-old laptop. That laptop is, good old key that was on the laptop somewhere. It's not linked. But once you have that done, your Windows 10 operating system, even if you don't remember the key, the system will actually remember. You'll be digitally licensed. Hey man, everybody wants to see you. Want to come over? You too? Get that. I have a little sleepy cat here. Get that. We'll try to get him here. So you're watching, of course. No, this is last week. Here we go. Get that. So you are watching the live tech show number 98. He doesn't want to. And we are November 28, 2017. Come on. Come on. Hey, man. Doesn't want to. Want to come? Get that. Honey. No, he's like, looking at me like, what the hell you want? Come on. He doesn't want it. Oh, man. Here, come over. Come over, man. Here we go. Ta-dum. Here's Mr. Cat for everybody to see. Here's Mr. Cat. Here you go. Yeah. How you doing, man? So Mr. Paul saying hi to everybody. Mr. Paul the cat, beautiful cat here. Yeah. And saying hi to all of you. How you doing, man? So anyway, so Tommy, all you got to do is use Magical Jelly Bean for the key find if you don't find it. And for the rest, you can upgrade any way you want. You can clean install with that USB thumb drive. And you will simply enter, when it asks you for a key, you enter the Windows 7 key in it. It's going to take maybe a minute, and then it's going to say, oh, that's cool, we're continuing the install. And when it's activated, like I said, even if you would lose that key, it doesn't matter anymore, because your PC will be what's called digitally entitled. That means that your PC will automatically be activated for sure. So it's pretty much what's going to happen. So everybody says hi to you. You're more important than me. I'm getting jealous here. So oh man, show it live Windows 98. That would be kind of nice. Show Windows 98 boot up. There's a lot of those on YouTube, you know, like, you know, DOS 3.0 boot up, and the guy just, you know, kind of really, you know, yeah, man. Look at that, Kitty. How are you? So Silver Dragon says Paul is the best cat. So it's nice to have everybody here. Christine Bowman. And you are watching the live tech show. And that is a picture. Yeah, Alex, you can it's something that started with Creators Update. When you actually go to when you do the setup, the install on a PC that never had Windows 10, we know it still works for now. You can use a valid Windows 7 or Windows 8 key, and that will actually work. It's going to continue. It's going to recognize it's a valid key for Windows 7 and 8, and it will actually continue the setup and accept that as a valid key, and it will upgrade to Windows 10 for free. We know it's still working. You know, I think the last person I've heard doing that was Paul Theroth about 3 weeks ago, and he said it would still work. It still works. He did it, and it was working fine. Hey, Wood Beast on YouTube, nice to have you here. Paul the cat has a smile on his face. So, oh, it's me. It's not clumpy. It's okay. It's just that I've simply, there's nothing really bad about his fur. It's the way that probably that you see it from the camera. There's really nothing unusual with his fur. It's probably the way that I'm holding him, or maybe in the belly fur is different from the fur on the top. But there's nothing wrong with Mr. Paul Volts. So yes, Great Old Pearls, you had some smart lights, and you're happy that you can turn them on and off using your Invoke, which is really cool, by the way, which is very, very cool. So you know what, Niels Pedersen says, I wonder how long the Windows 8 and 7 key is going to work. What I think, and what a lot of us think is, so we know that, you know, in December 31st, the assistive technology, people that use different technologies to help them out, you know, handicapped people and so on, people with disabilities, they were still getting Windows 10 upgrades for free. And that is ending on December the 31st of this year. Which means, and I think a lot of us are thinking that what's going to happen with the assistive technology when it's going to end, it's going to, I think it's going to end the loophole for the Windows key also. I'm pretty sure. Yes, Bobby, I did see it, how to take off a customer as a tech guy. Oh, man. Alex Tuttle, but do you need to be online for that to happen, for the Windows 7 key to get updated to Windows so update server can see it? You have to have an internet connection, absolutely, because it will verify the key online. And once it gets approved, once the online verification says, yep, that's a valid key, then it will continue. So you have to be connected to the internet when it's being done, technically. Except, you know what? Not necessarily. When I think about it, not necessarily, because I once on my Acer machine, I used the Windows 7 key on the bottom, but it was a clean install. And when I actually started the install, I do not believe I was connected to the web yet. So technically, no. Thinking about it, no. Thinking about it, I don't think you need to be connected, honestly, because the moment where it asks for the key is very, very soon at the beginning of the install, and when it's a clean install, there's no drivers yet, so it's not connected to the web, basically. You don't have to change the key at all, Alex Tuttle. You don't have to change the key at all. So yeah, but it does work. We know it works. Like Wall says, maybe you can install, but it doesn't mean it will activate. But right now we know it activates. You install, you give a Windows 7 or Windows 8 key, and it just activates it. Once you're at the end, it activates. You don't have to change the key or anything, Alex. Because it doesn't technically need a key to work. Windows 10 works with something called digital entitlement or something. I forgot the word. So it's entitled to. It's actually a mix of looking at your hardware and creating some kind of hash code that's sent to Microsoft because it recognizes your hardware. So technically Windows 10 doesn't need a product key to work. So yeah, well, it will work. It will work, but after one of the things for sure is it will work. But will it work after December? That's the other story. And if enlightenment, Silver Dragon says enlightenment. I don't like sending people to eBay for cheap Windows keys because I always wonder where they come from. And yes, I know that a lot of them are valid keys, but it's just that I don't trust eBay for that kind of thing. And if it doesn't work anyways and really would not activate, you can always go to the Windows Update, and that's also something to check, Tommy. If for some reason there would be a problem or it wouldn't work well on Windows 10, you can go to Windows Update. You can go to Windows Update, and there you will find on the left side recovery, and you can you'll have 30 days to go back to Windows 7. It's going to give you the option to go back to Windows 7 if you upgrade. If you upgrade from within Windows 7. And that's pretty much it. Absolutely. It's you know, that loophole actually from activation can be closed at any time. I mean, they don't have to do it. It works for now. It could stop working tomorrow. You know, we don't know when it's going to stop. Is it going to stay there or not? I don't know. But it's you know. Hey, Sam Gibson, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. So yeah, well, Andre Arias, if you're already activated, another way that actually your activation is also now verified with your Microsoft account and your machine. So on a machine that Windows 10 was already installed, if for some reason it would not activate, if you had a Microsoft account, that will add what was needed to activate. Take care, Christine Bowman. See you next week. It's nice to have you on board. So, but you know, that could stop at any time. Absolutely. I mean, Microsoft will decide when it stops. If it stops, you know, who knows? Maybe I'll leave that loophole. One of the things that was interesting. One of the things that they were Paul Thurrott was mentioning is that as time goes by, the number of Windows 7 keys, valid 7 keys available, are slowly dwindling, meaning that more and more people, less and less people, are going to use that upgrade path from Windows 7 keys, and most people will just have a new Windows 10 with a new PC, which would mean, well, you don't really need to keep it like that, you know. So, hey, Lester Newman, it's nice to have you here. It's pretty interesting to see everybody on board. So this was a live tech show number 98. We're November the 28th. Incredible, less than a month for Christmas now, which is totally crazy. We were talking, I had a little family party this weekend, and man, we were already talking of, you know, what's going to happen on you know, Christmas and everything. It was like, man, we're already there, you know, near Christmas. We had our coldest night last night, dropped down to -11 here. No, -11 Celsius, which I guess is something like I don't know, about 15 Fahrenheit, something like that. It was really, really cold, I can tell you that. Yeah, that would be my guess too, as David Walker is saying in the chat. You know, I wouldn't be surprised that as the loophole with the you know, as the assistive technology free upgrade to Windows 10 ends on December 31st, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised of having having that Windows, you know, key thing also stop working on December 31st. What am I cooking tonight? I don't know, because I have a maybe that's what I'm gonna do. I have these good food boxes. You know, it's like in the United States, you have the equivalent with Blue Apron. These are boxes that you get all the ingredients and you get the recipes, and you just cook the recipes. So possibly, because I made one today for dinner, which was a butter chicken with it was Indian butter chicken. It was really, really good with a little spinach and salad. There's a I was thinking of maybe doing for supper they have pasta with garlic shrimps and mushrooms. That looks really good. So I think that's what I'm gonna actually that's what we're gonna really do tonight. So Val says, right boxes with canned food. No, there's no canned food in there. It's really fresh ingredients. Like, you know, you get all these spices are fresh ingredients, and all the vegetables and everything. There's really almost nothing canned in these good food bag boxes. It's really fresh ingredients and meat to cook. It's kind of cool. I like that. I really like that. And I don't know if I'm going to have the courage to do. We have to have a video of that. Grable pearls. I might make one, but what I'll do is I'll post the video on a separate channel, because last time, man, I got tons of people saying, hey, you shouldn't post that there. And I was like, well, yeah, it's not totally in this place where it should be. I have a channel that I don't do nothing on. I was thinking sometimes of doing like whatever videos, you know, no specific subject, a video of whatever is happening. And maybe I could post a video of main Gilles live channel. 24 hours a day, Gilles. I don't think that would be nice. I don't think you guys would like to see that. I would like to see the, like, you know, 8 hours where I sleep. Oh, look at that. He's snoring. Oh, he just had a fart. Yeah, maybe I should start a cooking channel. You know, the first time that I did videos on cooking, I told you guys, I had like three or four you know, recipes, and they all like went to like 100,000 views, and you know, not even a month and a half. It was like, really? Okay. So you know, maybe I should have some cooking with Windows. Well, now that Windows has done a blue screen of death, it's time for a little shot of vodka before you continue your recipe, as your PC needs to boot back up so you can see the ingredients list. Albert Zaba says, show Paul in front of a log and fireplace. Yeah, there are some YouTube channels with that. The Connect Chef Live. One thing that I want to do tonight, that I did this weekend because my family, my brother and my sister was here, and one of the annual events that I have every time they come over is making home donuts. So of course I made donuts on Saturday, but there aren't any donuts left because we ate them all in the weekend. But since I still have the oil and everything, one of the things I was thinking tonight is maybe to do another batch of donuts tonight. I feel like doing another batch of donuts. So possibly I will be doing donuts. So, but if I'm gonna do one or the other. So if I cook the pasta with, you know, garlic shrimps, I won't do the donuts because I'll already have cooked and it's gonna take like an hour to prepare. And if I don't do the pasta tonight, which means I'll do it tomorrow, then I might be doing donuts. I mean, they were really good, and nothing like warm donuts with a glass of milk. It's just so good. Patrick Manny said, Paul the cat does sushi. So man, so I don't know, it'll be either donuts or some pasta with garlic shrimps and mushrooms, something like that. I still need to make that triple layer cake that you have sent me the recipe. It looks so good, but there's so many steps to do it, but it must be amazing. Maybe that could be a Christmas cake of some sort. I'll do it for Christmas or something. Hey Viper Boy, nice to have you on board. Let's celebrate. I drank all my beer. Good beast on YouTube. Garlic chicken with pasta is great. Yeah. So anyways, I get these good food boxes about once a month, and I like that. You know what? I really like the good food boxes because they make you cook stuff that you don't usually do at home, and they make you cook ingredients that you've never used ever. So I really like that. I really like that. And since I've been cooking some of these recipes, I kind of found all sorts of little things that that is really sometimes I make recipes and I will add or change a little something or do something that I would never have done before, because now I have, oh yeah, on good food I could do a salad with this or that, or I can use this and that and do a nice little sauce or whatever. It is really amazing, I can tell you that. Lester Numis says, are they from Amazon Fresh? No, it's a Canadian company based here in Montreal called Make Good Food. And it's simply, you get a box full of, you choose your recipes, you choose what you like. So when you actually log in the first time and create an account, they're going to ask you what you like. And so you just choose what you like. So for example, I chose everything except I don't want to have vegetarian food. I don't want to have vegetarian food. And once you do that, they actually have a set of recipes prepared, and they send you. So for example, last week before Wednesday I had to choose for this week's box. So they send you like 10 or 12 recipes. They ask you which one you want to have sent to you in there. So they'll send the ingredients of whatever you choose. My box is 4 recipes for 2 people that I actually asked for. So I've got the ingredients for 2 people for each recipe. And so I've got 4 recipes this week. Yesterday I was eating, what was it yesterday? Yesterday was, they were pork meatballs with curry and a kind of a Indian rice or something. This was it's in the choice that I took. It was very it was very spicy, but very good. So today it was like butter chicken with curry and everything. So now I've got shrimp, and I've gotten the last recipe that I'll have left after the shrimp, the pasta with shrimp, is steaks. I've got a recipe for it's called Montreal spiced steaks. So it's gonna be interesting to try that out. So it's kind of gonna be interesting. And the recipes, most of the recipes are really good. I've had maybe 1 or 2 that was like, yeah, I'm not sure. But I would say that 95% of the recipes are good. Everything is fresh. Everything is, if you need some spices, they don't send you these little dried spices. They actually send you the fresh spice that you actually have to, cut into little pieces by yourself with your knives. Anything that is in there is really if fresh herbs, so you get this little pack with fresh herbs in it. I'm amazed at the quality of the ingredients. I mean, the meat is always beautiful. All the like today there was some ginger, there was some lime, there was some, what is there? There was a mango for like a little sauce, and all the fruits, all the vegetables that you get are perfect. Perfect. I mean, they're really beautiful. And it's cool because it's really just the amount you need to do the recipe. So once you do this, like for example, I choose for 2 people. You eat for 2 people. There's nothing, no leftover, and the amount of each meal is just perfect. Once you've finished eating, you're not hungry anymore, and 90% of them are really amazing. I really like that. Hey, Sheriff's House, nice to have you here. Really cool. And it is personalized, yeah, because you are asked what you like and what you don't like, what you want and you don't want. And then they give you a choice of recipes. You got to choose in there. If you don't choose, they look at your past choices and they will select what they think is the best choice. So if, for example, I get my next box and I forgot to choose my meals, they will have chosen the meals for me based on what I've chosen in the past. And I would say that most of the time the choices are okay. I rarely have to change, you know, and a check mark to another one. But pretty cool. Really cool. I find it really cool. What else do we have? What else do we have? Viper says, oh, you can't remember what you did yesterday. You know, I do so many things that there are like a ton of things. A ton of things that you just, you know, I forget, you know. How do they pack it? Would be on YouTube. It's a refrigerated box. So you get a big box, and I can show you guys the box. I'll show you what it looks like. Here we go. We'll have a good food ad. So of course Paul the cat loves them, but you get this in a box that is like this, which is a refrigerated box. So here we go, good food. And this box is, and look at that, inside it's kind of metal coated. In the bottom they put ice packs. They put the meat on the ice packs. They put a separation like this, and on the top you got bags with all the ingredients. So I can show you guys a bag if you want. You guys will see what it looks like. So, for example, this is the bag for, and it tells you the recipe. So this one is for the steaks. So this is ingredients, the bag with the ingredients for the steaks. So it's got garlic, it's got some maple syrup, because it has a maple syrup glaze for the beets. It's got you know, a little bit of salad here. Of course, the steak is in the fridge, so it's kind of cool actually. I should call them up and make their. So it's really cool, and everything is refrigerated. If you don't open the box, they say that the ingredients will stay good and fresh inside the box for 48 hours as long as it's not open. So it's really cool. It's really cool. So a really nice thing. The beef is in the fridge. It's separate, because they always put the meat separate from the rest. So the beef is in a package. It's all the meats are packed in plastic bags that are they remove the air from them. So they're really good, as long as you keep them cool, you know. Yeah, I'm not Make Good Food is for Canada only. I think there probably is an equivalent for different countries. In the United States, I know that they have Blue Apron. In the United States, the equivalent is Blue Apron. So it's really, really cool. And oh my God, Living in a Box and 80s songs. So it's really nice, actually. Really, really nice. And it's kind of cool, you know, you open the box and you got all of these packages with the ingredients, and it's kind of fun because you open the box. The first time I've received that, it's really, really cool. Vaults, it comes to about, in my case, it comes to about $9 per person. 9 Canadian dollars, which is about 8 American dollars, 8 US dollars per person, or per meal, if you want. 4 recipes for 2 people like this, so that means there's 8 meals, comes to $78. Shipping included and everything. So, you know, for 8 US bucks, 9 Canadian dollars, it ain't that expensive. Really ain't that expensive. And of course they have plans for families. So when you have a family plan with even more recipes, they actually, it costs you even less. The more recipes you get, the less it costs. So they say that at the minimum, about $6.50, $6.50. So 6.5. And Patrick Manny says, if it doesn't come in a microwave package, I can't make. So it's really cool. It's really, really cool. And it's very, very good, actually. You know. So Jeffrey Kropp says, hello fresh in the US. There's a Blue Apron also in the US. Blue Apron, I know that one because Leo Laporte actually has a Blue Apron ad. I know that Blue Apron also does that in the US. You know, I don't find that very expensive. About, you know, in my case, for about $9, I get a meal. You know, if I don't do that, well, whatever I'll do at home, unless, you know, it's really basic, whatever I do at home will cost me at least that amount, if not more. And that's if I don't decide that I don't feel like doing anything, and then you go to the restaurant and it costs you $30 because you ate at the restaurant instead, you know. So it's not that bad, you know. It could be so much more expensive than that, and you know. I find it not too bad at all for the price. So so like I said, it's like I get, you know, 4 recipes for 2 people, so 8 meals for $78, shipping included and everything. That's not too bad. Really not too bad. And Douglas Elliott says Gusto in the UK. So so I would guess every major market has one equivalent company like that. Here we've got 2 in Canada. We've got the Made Good Food, which is based in Montreal. There's a new one that appeared about 3 months ago, which is Miss Fresh, which is the same kind of thing. And you know, I like it. I like it for the diversity of what, you know. I would never eat half of what's in here because I never make these recipes if I had to make them on my own and buy the ingredients. You know, technically. Alex says, I want to ask you about Pinside and Firefox versus the old. Do you like? I do not. I sent a feedback about it. You know what's the problem is I don't use Firefox really. So I can't really comment much on is it better or worse than the you know, past Firefox. I've never been a big Firefox user ever. So I can't really say if I like it or not. I've seen a lot of people complaining about some of the things in Firefox in the new version. for sure. So actually, I'm a good cook, and in general, I like cooking. It's personally, you know, I see a lot of people don't like cooking, but I like cooking. I like doing stuff like that for sure. Vault says new Firefox works well for him. You know, what I seem to see with the new Firefox is half the people like it and half the people don't. Really seems to be you like or you don't. Really seems to be that. I can tell you that. So so hey everyone, I want to say thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed today's show. This was the live tech show number 98. We are in November 28, 2017. Next show will be Paul says a show with terrible cook would be much better. Yeah, or you know, I was one show, by the way, Vaults, one idea that I had with Gabrielle was we buy all these box food, like, you know, all the like at the dollar store and everywhere. You buy the boxes that you're supposed to make whatever food from it, and we cook it and we taste it live, and we, you know, I'm sure some of that is so bad that it's like, oh God, I can't believe we're eating this shit, you know. That was one that was kind of interesting. Cheese puffs are good, Nils Pedersen. I know it's not good for us, but man, cheese puffs are great. So I want to thank you everybody for being here. We will be, Sean Robinson says Firefox were great on his laptop. So I want to thank you everybody for being here. It was always nice to have you on board, everyone. Next show will be the Insider Hour on Thursday. Hopefully we'll have a new build timeline in the next feature. And by the way, if you're waiting for some videos, I'll have a couple of videos today. There's a few things I want to talk about. A couple of videos on the Insider channel and a couple of videos on the Windows channel. And hope you enjoy all of the shows in all of what I do. Thanks everybody. Windows Insider Hour coming up on Thursday, 2000 hours UTC, 3 p.m. Eastern. So well, it's really cool, Lester Newmans, to have you on board. Really cool to hope everybody enjoys, and you know, we try to do our best to entertain and have a lot of fun. So thanks all for being here. Love you all. And so Windows Insider Hour, and this weekend we have 2 radio shows. Friday 2000 UT, Saturday 2000 UT. So take care everybody. Love you all. Stay safe please, and hope to see you soon on the live shows. Bye everyone. Take care.